Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Cutter Degrassiism poll video. Now, unlike the previous one, the last one I did, this is my creation. So, actually, somebody did a thing about top Degrassi characters who had backstabbings, who got backstabbed. Not literally, of course. A backstabbing is, a character who does something bad to another character and all that. That can be described as just terrible. So I had 10 of them. So I got 10 of them, and I made 2 polls of 5, and then the top 3 in each poll would be from 1 to 6, and the other 4 would be 7 to 10, as in it would be on my head. So I've ranked the top 10. Now, of course, the top 6 would be based off the poll I did, and the other 4 are ones I decided to do on my own ranking. So here we go. So number 10 is Paige getting Terry drunk in season 1. Now, I didn't know much about this moment, but recently Reddit has said some stuff about this. So I'm thinking, what's going on? And then I watched the scenes of Paige, being a mean girl, wanting Spinner and all that. This was early days, I think 4th or 5th episode of Degrassi. And she wanted Spinner, so she managed to go over to Terry's house and get Terry drunk, so much so that she ruins her date with Spinner, and Paige could steal Spinner away from everyone. All that, Spinner didn't really have eyes for other girls, but yeah, Paige wanted to be with Spinner. And they ended up being a couple in season 3, officially a couple by season 3. And then, that relationship had problems with the Rick situation and, Paige taking Spinner's car and crashing into Dean's car and, causing trouble. And then working a movie theater job to pay Spinner back, but Spinner was being a dick and being with Manny at the same time, which was pathetic. Yeah, it was shocking how Paige could be a mean girl and all that. A lot of people think she's a mean girl, which I think so too. But the simple fact is that, Spinner deserved better. And, I guess how crappy Spinner is as a person, he does deserve someone like Paige. Just saying. Number 9 on the list is Dave tasering Wesley in season 10, I think. 10 or 11, I can't remember. I think it was season 10, just after Vegas night. So Vegas night happened, and there was a lot of problems. Fates wanted to get to Claire, but wanted to kill Eli before Claire sets off a stink bomb to distract those guys. Allie in the boiler room with Drew and Bianca, and of course Sav and Holly J strip teasing and all that, without taking care of what the students were like in the gym and all that. Simpson had troubles of the yin yang, and basically to save his job, he decided to color code everyone in uniforms, have extra security in the school, and no extracurriculars. Of course, the students were not upset and were mad at Snake for just punishing them for the sins of a few students. But I mean, Snake in a sense had to bring Degrassi back under repute and all that. And he did say that the students ruined his trust. And that's true. I will say that about Snake. But the fact of the matter is that one of the big things is that the security, because Dave's dad was a cop. And then Dave, for some stupid reason, decides to take a taser and then accidentally taser Wesley. Wesley was this guy. He's kind of like the Toby of the middle era, because, Toby was basically someone who was trying to hang on to friends and was basically ignored and all that. Wesley didn't have a lot on his mind. But the simple fact is that, Dave should not have done that to Wesley. I mean, Dave was terrible and all that. But, Dave apologized to Wesley and became friends again. Number 8 is Holly J and Anya. Well, Holly J, all the backstabbing she did to Anya, and basically making Anya a doormat. Now, the previous poll, Anya was named the number 1 doormat at Degrassi, and I agree full-heartedly. The simple fact is that, I kind of hated how Anya was just under Holly J's shadow and all that. Reminds me of Terry being under Paige's shadow from the early seasons of Next Gen. But the fact is that, Holly J basically used Anya to her advantage. Got Anya in trouble several times, and basically Anya didn't really fight back. A couple times Anya did fight back and broke off with Holly J, but they still became friends for some strange reason. I think Anya was just trying to make it in the world and figured that Holly J was helping her out, which was sickening. I mean, Holly J trying to use her powers to tell Anya to ruin Sav's season 10 student council presidency bid by saying that she's pregnant with his kid. But Anya and Sav turned it around and said that, Anya miscarried, and that gave Sav the votes. And Holly J was pissed off. But, Anya told Holly J off. Holly J just basically tried to duck the important things and ruining Anya. So as a spinner aside, Holly J did have a redemption song, but I think it felt like it was after she had kidney problems. But yeah, Anya, unfortunately, kind of went downhill. She had decent relationships, but then she was with Dr. Chris, and then she went to the army. And to me, it's like Anya was just good at taking orders. That's kind of bad in some sorts. Okay, and number 7, the highest of the 4 losers that did not get into the final poll was Jenna stealing Casey from Claire. Now, they were setting up Casey and Claire kind of like what Emma and Sean was in season 1, a reformed boy, bad boy, trying to reform a bad boy with a decent, caring character and all that. So yeah, Claire and Casey were a couple. Connor wanted to be with Claire because I guess Claire was showing him pity over his autism. But then, Claire and Casey were a couple in season 9, and then Jenna steals Casey, saying that she's a boyfriend stealer and doesn't care what she does. So Claire is, of course, upset that Casey wants to be with Jenna, and then Claire kind of falls into a little depression, wants to go with Eli, because she's like, Eli's getting her out of her funk. And let's not forget that this was around the time Claire's parents were about to divorce, and Claire kind of lost her faith in God. Not completely, but in a way. So yeah, that was kind of stupid. All right, so now it's poll time. 289 people voted for my poll, and here we go. From 6 to 1. Number 6 with 7 votes, a paltry 7, was Zoe with her cyberbullying of Maya in season 13. Zoe was drawn in season 13 in the Paris episodes to, like, her mom telling Zoe to make friends with the Degrassi people before she goes to Degrassi after being kicked off West Drive for her substance abuse. The fact of the matter is that, Zoe and Maya became quick friends, and, Zoe wanted to be with Maya. Zoe tried to help Maya out with stuff, but then the dark underbelly happens is that Zoe wants miles from Maya. So she basically cyberbullies her, puts her picture on stuff, and makes her the shame of the online community. Maya sees this, and then Maya decides to retaliate with a song pointed at Zoe, but then she's sent to the principal's office and suspended for a while. And she's not too pleased with it, yelling at Principal Simpson. Simpson actually wasn't sure what to do, and Zoe made an apology, but Zoe just basically was crying crocodile tears and all that. And Maya's mom bought that apology and said to Maya, you should be the bigger person and not worry about it. Like, I understand Maya's mom's thing, but dude, like, your daughter's being hurt and you're not going to help her? Are you serious? You're a bitch. Sorry. I know you have cerebral palsy or something like that, but still, that doesn't mean you have to be a bitch. The simple fact is that, Maya was upset. She was getting no help. Principal Simpson refused to help her out. He could have brought the police, but then Zoe made that apology, and then Simpson said, I don't think we have to get the police involved. Although some people have said, well, wait a minute. He probably wanted to get the police involved and all that. But I also think Simpson would have cowered to Zoe and her mom because, Zoe's an actress, and if this gets out, then Snake probably might be hurt, and he might be in trouble. So Snake basically buckled under Zoe's mom's pressure. And, of course, Maya wasn't going to really get justice. But then again, soon in the middle of the season, Maya was told by her mom, hey, you know what? Let's go get justice on Zoe. But then Maya, after seeing Harry kiss her, or was it Miles, says that, I don't need it. I got the boy. I always wanted to be the boy. And it's like, oh my God, this is akin to Emma, like post season 4, that she's just boy crazy and all that. She could have got justice, but she's boy crazy. And yes, that kind of is part of the Emma thing. And yes, that is part of the top 6. Yeah, Maya and Zoe did kind of make up at the end of season 13. They both realized that Miles was playing over Trump, said, it was okay. All right, so number Number 5 of 19 votes. Speaking of the Matlin family, Maya's sister is involved in this, but it's Marisol telling everyone about Katie's eating disorder. I put in the poll seasons 11 or 12 because, this was around the time I didn't really watch Degrassi, so I didn't know. I think it was 11. But yeah, Katie was this soccer playing futuroso who was going to be part of the Canadian national team, but then ruined her knee and then took medication and had drug abuse. But the simple fact is that, Katie was going to be student council president or vice president. I can't remember what. And then Marisol basically telling everyone about Katie's eating disorder, trying to ruin Katie's thing. Katie had an eating problem. I think Katie got sympathy for that. But yeah, Katie had the problems, and Marisol was just being a bitch. It's not bad. It's bad enough that Marisol, stole Casey from Jenna while Jenna was pregnant. And Casey basically said, "You told me to play basketball," which was stupid. Now, a lot of people said that why was Marisol hitting on Casey, knowing that Casey was with Jenna and was about to have a child? But the thing is, Marisol overheard Casey in the diner basically lamenting about himself, and Marisol thought that Casey was hating on Jenna. Casey could have done a lot better if he wasn't with Marisol. So anyway, yeah, that was kind of awkward. Number 4 on the list with 36 votes was Jane cheating on Spinner with Declan season 9 in Degrassi Takes Manhattan. Now, Spinner was not the easiest person to be around, but his relationship with Jane was pretty decent and all that. And it looked good. The one problem with Spinner and Jane's relationship was that I wish Spinner had basically got involved in the season 8 bullying plot. Jane being bullied off the football team and Shep refusing to do a damn thing about it. I wish that Spinner had found out and Spinner taking Derek, Danny, and the football team to task. And Principal Shepard. Those two. I mean, yeah, it bothers me. And, they had a good relationship. And then Jane, for some reason, goes to Manhattan alongside Holly J, Declan, and Fiona back to Manhattan. And then Jane wants to be with Declan and cheats on Spinner and all that. Spinner feels terrible about things. It was ugly that Jane would cheat on him with Declan. And also the dog burned down because of a sandwich grill. That's unrealistic. But the simple fact is that Spinner was taken to Niagara Falls by Jay and Emma, and all of a sudden, Emma and Spinner end up being married. Jane wants to break off that engagement because she realizes that Spinner and Emma are going to renew their vows, so she tries to stop it, but then Manny physically fights her and says that you got to do what is right for Spinner. And, Spinner and Emma are still a couple. I actually would not have minded if Jane had ruined Spinner and Emma. That would have been nice. Fight me on that. So, anyway, yeah, that was kind of stupid. Number 3 on the list with 41 votes was Sean stealing Snake's laptop to get back at Emma season 3. So season 3 was kind of a shit show for Emma in a sense. Let's not forget season 4, but season 3, she had the drama with her trying to find out who her dad is. What about her dad? Because, she's welcoming a new sibling in the world. Spike is of no help. So Emma tries to go after Shane and finds him at a kind of a hospice, if you will, like a mentally deficient home and all that. And, she is mad at Spike. Snake does the right thing by telling Emma the whole thing about Shane and how his family didn't want him around, and then he took acid at a concert, and they don't know if he jumped or fell off. I think he fell off. I don't know if he would jump off a bridge. But simply put, it was just hard pressed. And, Emma then also had to deal with Snake getting leukemia and all that. And then, Spike buys Snake a nice laptop to cheer him up. But Sean was in the era, in the phase after he and Emma kind of broke off, that he went to the Candy Bandits with Jay and them. And then Sean was stealing stuff to impress his new gang, saying that, he wants to fit in. Unfortunately, he steals a lot of Degrassi stuff. Ratchet's not too pleased with it. Lack of evidence. Sean gets away with it, kind of. But then Sean's stealing the laptop to get back at Emma because, Emma was angry, saying that he was pathetic. And Emma was right. I mean, everyone gets on Emma's nerves about stuff, but she was right. Sean being pathetic. Sean wanted to be a gangster and all that and impressing people when he could have been a reformed guy. And I would have liked Sean more than that. Sean was a decent character. I like Sean. But the simple fact is that Sean stealing Snakey's laptop was pathetic. No, let's get back at Emma. Emma got back at Sean and all that. Chris figured that Emma was just mad that Sean moved on from her so fast. And, Emma didn't deserve Chris as a boyfriend. I think Emma was just clutching at straws, trying to get back at Sean in season 3. That's why she was with Chris, I believe. That's what I feel, but that's my own opinion. But anyway, yeah, Sean does admit to Snake after Snake helps him out with getting student housing and a new, and some grades being lifted up. Sean says that I only stole the laptop to get back at Emma for what she did, and I feel sorry. But Sean does work on Snake's car, doesn't charge him anything. He gets into Snake's good books. At least Sean had some redeeming qualities, and especially being with Ellie. I think Sean was a redemption arc in that regard. Number 2 is Emma dating Peter despite what he did to Manny season 5. Now, normally this could be definitely a number 1 backstabbing, but the number 1 one is probably just heavily huge. The worst part about the number 1 pick is it didn't get the 50% of the votes that I figured it would. But as is. So yeah, Emma dating Peter in season 5. Now, Emma in season 5, I did a Degrassi unpopular opinion about her line saying that I never been with a boy since Hurricane Sean blew through my emotional trailer park. And, that line was huge because it's like, what did she mean? It's like, did she mean that after the events of Back in Black, when Sean went back to Wasaga to deal with his PTSD about the Rick situation, that Emma wanted to be with Sean? I mean, after all, Sean saved her life. What girl wouldn't have done that? Or she just basically said season 3, kind of like season 3, and forgot all about Chris and all that. Emma and Chris were a decent relationship, but Emma basically was not the right person for Chris. But the simple fact is that, Emma wants to be with Peter, and then gives the kind of line, Hi, Peter, I'm Degrassi. Welcome to Emma. Whoopsies. So, yeah, so Peter spots Manny at a party and basically wants to be with her. Manny wants to push Peter towards Emma, but then Manny gets drunk and then flashes her breast. I want to be famous. Peter then wants $3,000 for his new camera. Manny can't give it to him, so Peter hands out the video and all that. Manny's ashamed. Her family kicks her out of her home. And, she stays with Emma for the time being. And a lot of people said, well, Emma probably was happy because, she could control Manny. I feel that way too, despite the contrary. But the simple fact is, the worst part about Emma's thing is that, she was going to do a revenge thing on Peter, get him in trouble. But then she woos over his photos and is like, this guy likes me and I like him. Screw it. I'm going to be with this guy, which is kind of stupid because, you're trying to ruin Peter for your best friend, trying to help your best friend out, and you do that? Pathetic. And Emma was hiding the fact that she was with Peter, especially with the fact that, Emma's stepdad, Snake, was cheating on Spike with Peter's mom, that being Hatzlackles. So, yeah, everything gets blown for a loop. Emma decides to blurt out that she's dating Peter and all that. Fortunately, though, Peter kind of does want to help Emma out with her problems. They do that intervention. Emma blows off at everybody and then suffers a panic attack, goes to the hospital, gets better, and, Emma and Peter are a couple by season 6. But then Sean pops up out of nowhere and kind of ruins Emma, which I think was on purpose because the fans really hated Peter being with Emma. And it's like, why would Emma want to be with Peter? Especially with the fact that he ruined Manny's life. But then it gets to me, it's like, you know what? Because she's happy that now Manny's under Emma's control. And if Manny does something bad, then Emma can kick her out. I don't think that she would have had the power. I think Spike and Snake would have done something about it. But still, it could be Emma's control problems and all that. And it's sickening, too. I mean, the whole Emma-Peter thing. And, Emma helping Peter out and making a masquerade dance so that, those two can be together. Peter was supposed to be serving house arrest for what he did in the drag race for Emma's heart, that Sean hit the pedestrian and went to jail. But the simple fact is that, it's just hard pressed that Emma would want to be with Peter in the first place and kind of helping him out. But I think Emma was just clasping at straws. Although she had feelings for Sean still, it was like she still has feelings for Sean. Why is she trying to help Peter? But yeah, it ended anyhow, so that's great. But by far, number one on the list with 136 votes out of 289 was Spinner making Jimmy the bad guy in the Rick situation season 4. I think everyone saw that coming. So anyway, background is that, Spinner was kind of a bully, took advantage of his friendship with Jimmy for the first few years, and then all of a freaking sudden, the Rick situation pops up. In season 3, when they're on that road trip and Spinner and Paige and them were supposed to look out for Terry and about Rick, and then Rick and Terry take that walk, and then Rick pushes Terry against that rock. Spinner and Paige blame themselves and each other for the stuff to do with Terry and all that. And then by season 4, he's back at the school, and Spinner is like, why is he back? Marco and Alex can't make Raj budge. Emma definitely can't, and gets Raj's ire up. So Spinner and them are upset. And then when Paige and Emma's Orange Ribbon campaign happened, then that's the perfect idea to get Rick out of school. Spinner then throws something at Rick, gets in trouble with Quan, goes to the office, but it seems like that's the only time a staff member did anything about it. The simple fact is that, Spinner was made to be a gigantic bully. He was still a bully by time stand still. The bully group was basically Spinner, Jimmy, Alex, and Jay. Of course, Spinner and Jimmy have decent reasons to be with the situation with Rick and upset with how Rick is back at Degrassi. Alex has been victimized because her mother has been victimized by ex-boyfriends and all that shit. Which is fine, but, she still shouldn't be a bully and all that. And yeah, she did see Rick as the embodiment of every one of her mother's abusive ex-boyfriends. And then, Jay was just basically there for the ride, I guess, to push Rick and to basically have a hard on for Alex. You know what I mean. But the simple fact is that, yeah, Jimmy was there too. Jimmy was the one who helped Spinner push Rick into the dumpster. And then Rick circled the X and spray painted everyone's vehicles. Spinner, Jay, and Alex are upset when Jimmy decides to switch sides, mostly because Rick tells them that, he's being victimized. Toby's now going to be victimized. This shouldn't happen. This has gone on long enough. And Jimmy decides to do something about it and stand up to his former friend group, and they're upset. They do the painted feathers to get on Rick's nerves, and of course I think they're probably going to try to think about what to do with Jimmy, because after all, Jimmy was a tormentor. Long story short, Spinner brags about the prank to Jimmy on the basketball court during lunchtime. Let's not forget that scene. And then, they get a literal fight. They don't get sent to Principal Radich for some strange reason. Spinner, Jimmy, and Craig are all walking together in that deleted scene. Spinner does the chicken noises to Rick. Radich sees it and wants Spinner to talk at 3:30. And then, he tries to calm Rick down, and then Snake gets on Radich's case, and Radich says, this is not daycare. Making friends is not part of the curriculum. Daycare, I don't think, really has a curriculum, in a sense. Unless it's like nursery school or preschool. Regardless of that, Rick wants to shoot Paige. He doesn't, because Paige calms him down. And then all of a sudden, he goes to clean himself up. He hides in the stall, which is weird. And then after seeing the painted feathers, Spinner and Jay decide to pin things on Jimmy, while knowing that Jimmy and Rick will stop being friends. Of course, they don't know that Rick has a gun, and then Rick shoots Jimmy in the back. And a lot of people said that, it was a perfect game. It was like, Rick didn't fully intend to shoot Jimmy, because if Rick fully intended to shoot Jimmy, he probably would have aimed. Remember, he has head turned, and he shot Jimmy in the back. He would have got Jimmy straight in the head. Boom, game over. So yeah, Jimmy gets shot and all that. Eva nearly gets shot, but Sean shoots Rick dead, and then the blame game happens, everything, and then Spinner finds out that Jimmy was shot, and then put 2 and 2 together, saying that Rick had a gun, and that they're gonna find out that we told Rick everything. Like, we tricked Rick into this stuff, and Spinner wants to go confess, but Jay convinces him not to, and Spinner's brought with guilt for 3 months. And basically, Jimmy is upset when Spinner tells him the truth. I mean, Spinner had to tell the truth. I mean, the question is that how many people knew that Rick was tricked into shooting Jimmy other than Jay and Spinner? Nobody. But the fact is that Spinner did confess, which was the right thing to do in his mind. But of course, Jimmy says that he just did it to alleviate guilt, which I think he did. He did tell Hatzilakos on himself and Jay. I think he had good reason to implicate Jay. He didn't tell on Alex. I think he wanted to give Alex a break. Hatzilakos has no choice but to expel them. Those two, fair enough. And then Spinner decides to make it a mission in season 5 to get his friends back. He won't push them. He'll just basically just say that I want to be friends with Jimmy again. Give me a second chance, please. And then, one by one, everyone comes back to him, especially Jimmy. So Spinner made a good redemption arc and all that. That's sweet. But yeah, backstabbing Jimmy was definitely the wrong thing in everyone's mind. And everyone should be mad at that. I know I would. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm